it's Michael from ePapere. Today I thought I would go through and show you 25 different things that I use for page edging. So we're just gonna head right in and see what we can find here. If you have any additional ones that I haven't mentioned, I'd really like to see you comment, because I'd like some new ideas too. So here we go. Number one I put down is a ribbon edge. Now, this one actually is the one that I did for Erin's Northwoods journal. Now, what I did here is reinforce the edges with additional paper. And then I took this punch that I have and I punched the edge of the page. And then I just wove the ribbon through, starting from the middle and going down each side 2 ways so that I could come and tie it in the middle with a bow. So that is one way. Number two is a ruffle, which I am sure that we're all familiar with, a fabric ruffle, or you can do a paper ruffle also. Now this is the one that I did for Erin's Meadow journal. I make these ruffles with embroidery or slow stitching on it, and we do sell those in the shop. So, and again, you could make that out of fabric or you can make it out of paper. All right, number three is the lace cutout, which we just did a video on the other day. So this is the one I made that has a lace cutout on the side of the page. So, and you can watch the video to see how I did that. So that's number three. Number four is beading. Now this is a little time consuming, not too bad, especially if you're used to working with beads. But again, what I did here on this one is I just reinforced the edge with additional paper. And then I took cotton crochet thread and some gold beads, and I just did a whip stitch around, and I put 2 beads on each stitch. So this is the one I made for the Celestial journal that Erin's doing. Okay, so die cuts. Boy, there's a lot of things you can come up with die cuts. The one that I made for Erin's boho journal is I have a die cut for buttons. So I made buttons and then just, glued them on the side. Now the middle one that I did some crocheting on. I have, in the shop, I have regular buttons, not paper ones, but regular buttons where I've crocheted around. I call them our button flowers, crochet button flowers. And so that's what I did here. As you can see here, I did some doodling, and I did that on the inside of the page too. So that's another way, using die cuts. If you've got some die cuts, I do have some die cuts also that are just, that would run along the page. So you can do that. And you can cut them out of different colored paper, or you can color them with your inks or paints or whatever. So that would be using die cuts. Okay, so the next one is clusters. Okay, and I think you've all seen that too, where, you've taken and made a cluster, a longer cluster that you can glue to the side of the page like that. And those are fun to do too. So cluster is another one. Washi tape. Let's see what I got here. I have some of this washi tape. Whoops. And it doesn't want to stick to well. I think it's a little old, but you could either run it down this way. I was thinking that you could take different lengths of it and just, you know, put it down at the edge with different lengths of washi. That would be kind of fun. And different colors or different types of washi. It doesn't have to be the same one. So that would be washi. Snippets, fabric snippets. Again, I have in the shop, I make these little spools of snippet fabric. And I think I made a video not too long ago too about how to use those. But this is one of my fabric snippets that you could put on an edge like that. And if you wanted to, you could add additional embellishment to it if you'd like. So that is a fabric snippet. And you could make those bigger if you wanted to, and add all kinds of things to it. Lace, you know, other types of fabric. So that would be a snippet. That's number 8. Number 9, I have, as you know, if you've watched our haul from St. Vinny's, we were able to grab a whale tail punch. And so I thought, well, if you took whale tails, I mean, you know, normally you just use one on a page, but what if you decided to just take and do many of them down the side of your page? That would be kind of interesting as a decoration. That was number 9. Okay. Number 10 is paper scraps or like collage. And I know that you've seen other YouTubers do this, but just, you know, collaging down the edge of your paper. I know that Gail sometimes does it where she goes all the way around the paper. Now, I didn't ink this one at all, but you could. And if you wanted to, you could add something different to that too, to also add more embellishment to it. But that's like paper scraps and collage. That's number 10. Number 11 is the one that we all do, lace. And I'm going to reach over here and get my garden collage journal that I finished not that long ago and show you all the lace that I put on the edges of this journal. So lace edging, very neat to do on your journal. Here's another fabric ruffle that I did. So yeah, just plain. I don't think there's anything plain about lace, right? But just lace. That would be another way of putting an edge on your journal. That's number 11. Number 12. Now, I don't know how many of you crochet. I do. And you probably have seen in the shop, I have several crocheted items. And one of them also that I do sell in the shop is a crocheted edging that you can glue on your paper, like this one. So it's kind of like the lace, but only crocheted. A little bit different texture, etc. That's number 12. Number 13 is paper punches. Well, boy, we have plenty of them, don't we? Let's see. There's a fall leaf. You could take and punch these out and then arrange those fall leaves down the page if you wanted to. These are snowflakes. You could do the same thing that way with them. Flowers, label. If you've got a small like label punch or something like this one, you could do that. Also, if you happen to have an edge puncher, you could also do that. Was paper punches. That's like number 13. And I'm sure we've all done these, but there are various different edge paper punches that you can use. So those are punches. That was number 13. Excuse me while I drop these on the floor. Don't have enough room. Okay. Embroidery. Now, again, maybe a lot of you don't do embroidery. I do. I find it quite relaxing. So what I've done here is I have taken a piece of what they call like paintable wallpaper. It's a little heavier and it usually has some type of a decoration on it. This one is just small, like dots. And on the back of it is it has a glue type. I mean, it's not sticky, but if you wet it, it will glue. Because that's a heavier paper, I use that a lot of times to do embroidery on. But now, for example, this one, I just folded it. And you could stick it on your page like that. And that would give you a page edge. Now, you know, if you feel like taking the time, you could do an edge all the way down. Now, if I were to do that on the actual page, I would reinforce it with several layers of paper. And I know I've seen a lot of people that punch holes when they're doing embroidery. I don't do that. I just use my needle and punch it. Now, I do have some page tab, fabric page tabs in our shop that have embroidery on them that are also for sale. So that would be number 14, embroidery. Number 15, and again, this probably goes along with punches. What did I do with it? Okay, so if you wanted to take some flowers, now maybe you buy some flowers or maybe you have flowers, I don't know, but you could, you know, put some flowers down the side of your page. So that would be like paper flowers. You could make cloth flowers if you wanted to, and do that. Banners. I've used these quite often. Of course, I don't happen to have a card in front of me. Well, I'm just going to use this, but these are banners that I've just glued to the side of my page. Hopefully you can see them. Now, I've left them partially unglued because then you can also use them as a tuck. So, you know, and you don't have to make them all the same size. You could make them, you know, various sizes. But there's a banner, and you could decorate more here, you know, put a ribbon down there or a piece of lace or, you know, whatever else you'd like to do. So that's 16 banners. 17 is stamping. Now, I don't have a example of that. I didn't pull out my, but I have some stamps. Now, these are pretty old, and I know for a fact that the company that manufactured these is no longer in business. But I'm sure that there are a lot of different border stamps that you could use. This one is just plain straight line. This one is, a, you know, like a stitch line, and it's got a circle, and here's a square, and here's a rectangle. So that's one. Another one I have here has, like, it looks like gross grain ribbon. One with just squiggles and lines, and here we go with a banner again, and swirls and all that kind of a thing. So those are something that you could stamp down the side of your page also. Okay, so that was stamping. Now, you could just use a regular stamp like a flower or whatever and, you know, go down the side of your page. Or if you've got leaves, go down the side of your page. That would be stamping. That's number 17. Number 18 is stencils. Okay, what did I do with my stencil? Okay, here is one where I had stencil. My goodness, I can't talk today. Stencil the edge of the page. And I just did that with a stencil in my distress ink. So that's number 18. Number 19 is embossed paper. Okay, here's one I did. Now this page is cardstock, but I just did the actual embossing right on the page. And then what I did is just took some, you know, of that wax paste and just put it down there so you could see it better. But you could also just take a piece of cardstock, emboss it, and then cut it in strips and add it to the edge of your page. And then you could add the wax paste to it if you want to, paint it, you know, do whatever you want to. So embossing, that's like dry embossing. I'm sure that you could probably stamp and emboss down the edge of a page too. Whoa, there's another one. Okay, that was number 19. 20 is stickers. Well, we all have many stickers. So, you know, here's just a few that I have. You know, so you could have one going here, add some more here, whatever you wanted to do. You could have flowers going down the edge of the page. You could have butterflies going down the side. Tons of things that we have stickers that you could utilize to do. I can't even pick these up. There we go. Okay, so like here's some butterflies I could have go down the side of a page. So that would be stickers. And we all have, you know, beautiful stickers that you could use. If you wanted to, if you had two of these, you could put one in the middle with some type of a flower and then another sticker. So you can put stickers on your page edges. That's number 20. Number 21, doodling. We all can doodle, to be honest with you. I'm not the best at it. Because I guess I'm more of a perfectionist, but here you can, you know, doodle down the side of a page if you want to, or Zentangle. If you're into Zentangling, you could do that. I tried that. I'm not very good at that either. That is an option for you to do there. So that's number 21. Number 22, painting or watercoloring down the edge of your page. And I think, as I said recently in another video that I did, I am not a painter or a watercolorist in any way, shape, or form, but we all can do, you know, small little things like this that, you know, you can add to the edge of your page to add decoration. So that's number 22. Number 23 is buttons. Now, also in the shop, I also have crochet edging, which includes buttons that I recently did that are for sale in the shop. And those utilize these kinds of buttons. But, you know, you can just take a button and add it to the side of your page. You know, depending upon, you know, how much bulk you do or do not want. And you could take and tie, put a piece of thread in there and tie the thread on there first before you put the buttons down. So that's one type of a button you could use. There are, and these are specialty buttons, but you don't have to use specialty buttons. You could use vintage or antique buttons, or just plain old buttons that you have laying around. Now these are specialized ones that are flowers. And I think you could probably dye these with an alcohol ink, although I have not tried. But these are, you know, tiny little flowers that you could, you know, maybe you wanted to glue some string down here and then as like it was a stem, or maybe you wanted to paint like I did on that other one, like this one here, and instead of putting a rose or something, I mean, anybody can make a vine, right? Instead of painting the rose, you could just stick a flower button on there, and that would be a pretty page edging. So buttons can be used as a page edging. That's number 23. Number 24 is bling. And I'm sure that you've all used that to one extent or another. What happened to my, oh, here it is. Like these things, you know, or just regular bling that you may have, like this, whatever. You know, you could put this down the side of the edge of a piece of paper. You could use this to put down the edge of a paper. So anything like that, bling. That's number 24. And last but not least is number 25, fabric. And, you know, again, we already talked about fabric ruffles. Something else that I do that are for sale in the shop is I make these little fabric tabs. Now I do slow stitching and whatnot on them, but you don't have to do that. Basically, I'm taking a rectangle here that is about 2¼ inches, okay? And I just fold it in half, and then you could take and glue it on your page. Now, you could do just one as a tab, or you could do several of them down the page if you wanted to do that, just to make it a little bit more colorful. But so you could make page tabs. So that's what I have for you today. That is 25 different ways of edging your journal pages. Now, I am sure that many of you have lots of other ideas about how to edge your page, and I may have forgotten some very simple ones, but these are the basic ones that I utilize. So if you can come up with any more, I'd love to see them in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you got a little bit of inspiration from one of the items that I do. And I really appreciate your watching. I hope that everyone is well and that you're having a great day. And we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.